My name is Esther Robb and I'm Marketing Manager here at Ticon. I'm very excited to have Juliana Bruwer from SAP in Australia with me today. Hi, Juliana.
Hi, Esther. Nice to talk to you today. You can also take the inside-out approach, where it's more data-driven, where you say, well, what we can't measure, we can't improve. And to do that, you might look at getting your data in a more granular level and looking at machine learning and other technologies to help you assess where those sometimes quite small improvements might lie that can eventually lead you to a more sustainable future. So incrementally, that's one option. Or maybe you discover some really big low-hanging fruit that you can start improving on right away. So yes, I would see that as inside out, outside in, and data is definitely going to be a key enabler. If you don't have the data, definitely look at getting a corporate system of record for example, your emissions, your energy, your water use, and of course all the other ESG or sustainability metrics that you might want to track and improve on. In an IT system, there's an absolute lot of things that our customers can already start leveraging today. I mentioned earlier data and insights, and I still think that's probably one of the first and most important things that you could do to see where are those bottlenecks, like why are certain areas of your production process lagging behind the rest. There could be certain plants that are more inefficient than others. So there's an absolute ton of information just residing there within the data that they probably are already capturing today, and we just need to apply the smarts to it and the machine learning algorithms to mine it.
And you mentioned earlier that once you have tracked that data, you basically go after the low-hanging fruit first. Do you have any examples of what those low-hanging fruits could actually be?
Yes, so if you think about some of the inefficiencies that you can imagine in a manufacturing plant. So for example, if you work with metals, if you don't have your production plant fully function, if it doesn't produce the right outcome, the right product with the right grade of quality, then often some of that product would end up as scrap. That's an inefficiency. So you've wasted all those natural resources to produce something that ends up going to scrap. So by becoming more sustainable often also means becoming more profitable. And we have some customer examples where they took it with the dual purpose of becoming more sustainable and also being less wasteful and being able to produce something, you could say, more precisely. And that's a double whammy right there. It's not always that sustainability is going to cost you more. It often can also lead to cost savings and more profitability.
I like that double whammy. But I think it will actually make a lot of manufacturing companies out there really, really happy to know that they can become sustainable and they can still improve their profitability targets and be less wasteful. And I mean, it's kind of like a win-win right there, like you put it. So that's really good. Earlier you mentioned, the research and development, and then also that technologies need to be improved. I mean, these things cost. Why would, apart from increasing the profitability and lowering the waste output, why would you say companies should still kind of go for this investment in IT and research and development?
Right. So I would say you should ask yourself, what are the risks if you don't? And that is a really good question. I mean, if you think about the risks that you could face if you do not start planning for a sustainable future, there's first of all, in a lot of cases with highly regulated industries, for example, there's your license to operate. So you could lose your permits, or could become really quite expensive to have to mitigate all those carbon emissions with carbon credits. So there's one risk, but there's also the risk of, basically becoming obsolete. Your products that you produce, your portfolio, where you operate, the portfolio of what your raw materials, your final products might actually become obsolete. It's quite a fast-moving. I would say there's a lot of business model disruption going on. For example, if you insist on just focusing on the fossil fuel industry and not seeking alternatives, if you look at, for example, what's happening in what used to be called the oil and gas company, now called the energy industry, that's really fascinating, because they realize that, okay, fossil fuels are going to be with us for quite some time still, but we do need to make a change in our portfolio. We need to plan for a future where there's less reliance on it. So if you don't start doing this short, medium, long-term planning to adjust your corporation, then you pretty much have the risk that you will become obsolete. And your competitors will definitely not be sitting there waiting for better days. They will go for it. And so there's a first mover advantage as well. As you can imagine, that if the first, say, for example, green product is definitely going to get a lot of attention and a lot of marketing. So yeah, damned if you don't is what I would say.
Okay, that's really interesting. What I've taken with so far is that it is not really an option to not think about the sustainability, because customers demand more and more that companies produce in a sustainable way, so they'll only buy products that are green products. Investors tend to only invest in companies that can prove they have a sustainable production. And then also you mentioned you might even be critical to your business, because you may lose licenses if you don't produce in a green way. And then also that your product may become obsolete because you're just not competitive anymore. And then all just with a maybe initially higher invest in research development and the IT, but then you do actually gain profitability advantages and also produce less waste. So in the end, it kind of sounds like a double whammy, as you put it.